It's happening. If you think this is just another new moon, you're already being misled. You don't need to fear this moon, but if you ignore it, things get catastrophic really fast. Everyone's looking at the sky, waiting for a sign. But this time, the sign is what isn't there. And that's exactly how this moon works. It slips past the masses, completely unnoticed, until it's too late. Because while everyone's distracted by full moons and eclipses, this is the one that moves in silence and shifts everything behind the scenes. And most people will miss it. They think it's nothing, but this isn't just a gap in the lunar cycle, it's a trigger point. A moment where the veil thins, not in mystery, but in precision. And there's one specific reason why you absolutely must isolate yourself during this window. Not just for self-care or clarity, but something far more exact and far less forgiving. Most won't even realize they're already caught in it. But you're not most people. If you're around the wrong people during this portal, their chaos becomes your karma. This new moon isn't asking you to be alone. It's forcing you to be unavailable, not because you're weak, but because you're not supposed to absorb what isn't yours. During this phase, there is no reflection, no light bouncing back to confirm who you are. And in that blackout, people leak. Their emotions, their fears, their projections. And if you're too close, your energy becomes their landfill. This isn't poetic, it's tactical. You're either inside your own frequency or you're a host to someone else's breakdown. Think of this moment like a reset switch, but it only works if your field is clear. And right now, the atmosphere is flooded with spiritual noise, desperation, confusion, manipulation. The wrong conversation, the wrong text, the wrong energy exchange today can reroute your entire path. So if you've been feeling the urge to disappear, listen to it. Because what's approaching after this phase? It doesn't wait for anyone to catch up, and it definitely doesn't come gently. What you feel right now is probably false. Here's why you shouldn't trust your senses during this moon. Right now, your instincts are compromised. And the most dangerous part? You won't notice, because it feels so real. This is the blackout effect, the disorientation that happens when the moon disappears from the sky and takes your spiritual compass with it. During the full moon, we're flooded with reflection, light, contrast. But during the new moon, that mirror goes dark. There's no feedback, no energetic reflection, which means the usual tools you use to make decisions, your gut feelings, emotional hits, and intuitive pings can be totally off. Stillness doesn't mean clarity, sometimes it's just distortion without the noise. That moment of confidence you felt today could be false ego, the wave of emptiness. It might not be sadness, but simply spiritual quietness mistaken as a lack of purpose. That intuitive nudges to message someone from the past? Be careful. You're not receiving guidance, you might just be echoing their pull, not your own. This moon distorts the signal, and the problem is, it does it silently. You won't hear the distortion, you'll feel something and believe it's your truth, when in reality, it's just unanchored data. You can't read the signs if the ink hasn't dried yet. So during this moon, don't interpret. Don't label what you're feeling as a conclusion. Just observe. Sit with it. Don't let the first impulse narrate your whole path. Because right now, your perception isn't showing you what's happening. It's showing you what's missing. This 72-hour window can either open your next path or trap you in limbo. Most people think the new moon is just a moment. But by the time you're seeing this, you're already inside the portal. Right now, this very moment, we're in the heart of it. Day 2 of a 3-day tunnel, July 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And here's the truth. You haven't missed it. But if you waste today, The next cycle locks in without you. This isn't just about what happens during the moon. It's what you do before and after that seals your trajectory. The 72-hour window is alive, and it's listening. What you feed it now becomes your next timeline. And here's the issue. Most people waste it. They fill it with noise, screens, food, busy work, small talk, mindless scrolling, numbing out. They treat it like just another day, and the portal seals shut with no real imprint from them. Take a walk without your phone. Fast if your body calls for it. Say no to anything that feels convenient but unnecessary. Don't go chasing signs. Let them find you if they even need to. Because this isn't a test of action, it's a test of presence. You either sit with the blank page or you fill it with the same story again. And once this portal closes, you'll be stuck inside whatever you were too restless to escape. You're not building something new, you're being cleared out for something you didn't choose. Everyone loves to say, the new moon is a fresh start, a blank canvas, a chance to manifest your next chapter. But that's not what's really happening here. You're not being invited to begin something new, you're being stripped, cleared out, emptied, and not in the way that feels beautiful or poetic. In the way that feels like you're being dismantled from the inside out. You're not stepping into your future is clearing space through you. This isn't a choice. You don't get to decide what stays and what goes. And that's what's confusing, because on the surface, it might feel like you're failing. Projects stall. Conversations dry up. Motivation disappears. Things you were excited about last week suddenly feel hollow. You may even feel like you're losing your edge, like you've become numb or irrelevant overnight. But this isn't the end of your story. It's the rinsing of the glass before anything new can be poured in. You're not being delayed. You're being drained of what can't come with you. And here's what makes it even more intense. This isn't about your goals or desires. The energy right now is cutting ties with things you thought were part of your path. It's cleaning house on a level your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. The plan you thought you were following, it's being rewritten behind the scenes. So if you feel like you're in a fog, if everything feels on pause, if the silence is unbearable, good. That means the process has already begun. The emptiness isn't a problem. It's the signal. You are being cleared for something that hasn't even introduced itself yet. Something your current identity wouldn't even recognize. Don't fight to make things happen right now. Don't try to force progress or clarity. This phase isn't about the build, it's about the breakdown before the real foundation is poured. And if it feels like everything's slipping through your fingers, maybe it's because your hands are finally being freed up for what's next. Sudden silence, restlessness, loss of appetite. These aren't random, they're part of the cleanse. Let's talk about what's happening to your body right now, because the mind might still be trying to figure things out, but your system is already deep in the shift. One of the biggest signs this energy is active, your rhythms are off. You sleep too much or not at all. You wake up wired at 3 a.m. or feel like you're walking through molasses by noon. There's no balance, just flux. You might feel weirdly disconnected from hunger, like you forget to eat, or you crave things you haven't wanted in years. It's not about the food. It's about your body trying to recalibrate while the rest of you is in energetic rewire mode. Your body always gets the message before your mind does. There's also that sensation that you're hovering, not quite in your body, not really grounded. You're moving through conversations, walking through rooms, scrolling through your feed, but you feel like you're observing yourself from outside your own skin. That's not you being spaced out. That's your frequency shifting away from the version of you that no longer fits. The in-between state is real, and it's uncomfortable on purpose. You might also notice extreme restlessness with no reason behind it. You're pacing, you're sighing, you're checking your phone for no reason. You feel like something's about to happen, but nothing does. That's not anxiety, that's preparation. Your body is tracking a timeline your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Stillness during this portal isn't laziness, it's sacred digestion. And here's the key. Don't override these symptoms. Don't try to fix them. Don't shame yourself for feeling disconnected or weird. These aren't signs that something's wrong. They're proof that the internal cleanse is working. The silence, the detachment, the strange cravings and disrupted sleep, they're all part of your system making space, not just for new ideas, but for a new state of being, one that hasn't fully landed yet. Let it be weird, let it be quiet, let it be off. That's exactly how you know it's real. This moon unlocks the miracles that require your solitude. Some shifts can only take place in silence, not the kind where you're just away from noise, but the kind of silence that surrounds you when no one is watching, when no one expects anything from you, when you're truly alone. There are transformations that don't survive observation. They're too delicate, too raw. The second you try to explain them, they evaporate. The second someone else's energy enters the room, they dissolve. And that's why this new moon isn't just asking for your solitude, it's requiring it. Some miracles can only land in the absence of witnesses. You don't need an audience for this chapter. Not even the people closest to you can walk through this part. That's not a punishment, that's precision. This is a sacred contract, one-on-one, between your frequency and something bigger than you. And it's not loud, it's not obvious. It won't show up in the ways you're used to recognizing. The moment you try to explain what you're feeling, you'll lose it. The moment you try to process it out loud, it will shrink. This is not a time to post about your awakening. This is not a time to seek validation for your insights. This is not a time to bring anyone into the room with you, even spiritually. If they weren't there for the unraveling, they can't be part of the wiring. And that's hard because we've been trained to share. We want to tell people what we're realizing. We want to feel seen. But this is one of those rare portals where being seen is the exact opposite of what will help you. Right now, being around others isn't just a distraction, it's interference. Even their silence carries weight. Even their presence pulls you slightly off center. This isn't a social moon, this is a surgical moon. And the work it's doing in you, it's so specific, so custom fit, that anyone else's frequency near you could shatter it. Let the space be empty. Let the room be quiet. Let the transformation happen with no witness but you. Because if you can hold that level of solitude, something will change inside of you that can never be reversed. An interruption is coming, a knock, a call, a shadow. Will you open the door? Don't expect clarity to arrive as a whisper. Tonight, it might show up as a disruption. The universe doesn't always knock politely. During this kind of portal, this 0-point energy of the new moon, signals often come in sideways. Through things you'd normally brush off. A light flickering, a sudden knock on the wall, your phone ringing with no one there, a sentence you overhear from a stranger that hits like a message. This isn't superstition. It's the way non-linear information enters a space that's been cleared. Stillness invites the signal, but the message comes through the static. You might suddenly feel the urge to look somewhere, and you don't know why. You might be pulled to open an old journal or a drawer you haven't touched in years. You might remember something out of nowhere, a dream, a person, a number, and it won't let you go. This is how it communicates, not through logic, through interruption, not through harmony, through friction. And here's the mistake people make. They dismiss it. They chalk it up to coincidence. They ignore the chill that rises on their skin or the way time suddenly feels off for just a few seconds. But if you're paying attention, if you're really in it tonight, you'll feel when the moment bends. It might not make sense right away, but your only job is to notice. Don't reach for meaning too fast, just mark the moment. You don't need to understand the knock to know the door is calling. And don't be surprised if you're tested, if something breaks, if someone calls just as you're settling into silence, if you feel a surge of anger or sadness out of nowhere. Sometimes the energy stirs the air before it speaks. Your task is to stay. Don't run to distractions, don't numb it. Let it disrupt you, let it shake the edges. Because when the message finally comes through, it won't feel like a thought. It will feel like a recognition. Something wants your attention tonight. And if you're present enough to meet it, it might just shift the entire path ahead. The reason everything feels flat? You're being detoxed from dopamine. Right now, you're not lazy. You're not lost. You're not unproductive. You're being unplugged. This new moon isn't here to hype you up. It's not offering clarity, momentum, or motivation, and it's not supposed to. You're not meant to feel inspired, you're meant to feel empty. And not because something's gone wrong, but because everything is finally starting to get quiet enough for your real signals to come through. This isn't depression, it's deflation of everything fake that used to inflate you. We live in a world addicted to stimulation, little hits of dopamine from likes, validation, distractions, even constant internal pressure to achieve or perform. This moon, it's cutting the cord, not softly, not gradually, but like a blackout. And in that blackout, your nervous system doesn't know what to do, so it panics. You might feel bored, restless, like you're floating in meaninglessness. But that's not a crisis, that's the reset. Right now, your spirit is being stripped of false highs so it can find true direction. But here's the catch. That direction doesn't show up immediately. There's a space between stimulation and real desire, and it's silent. So of course you feel weird. Of course you feel like nothing is moving, because your emotional baseline is detoxing. And the stuff that used to make you feel alive, the scrolling, the chasing, the striving, the comparing, it's suddenly gone. Or worse, it's still there, but it doesn't do anything for you anymore. You're not meant to be motivated, you're meant to be honest. What do you actually want when you're not being fed? What does your soul crave when you're not being entertained, flattered, or triggered? This moon forces that confrontation, and most people run from it. They'll rush to fill the gap with more content, more action, more noise. But the few who sit in it, who feel the flatness without escaping it, they're the ones who discover actual truth. So if you feel like life's gone grayscale, good. That's not failure. That's the screen clearing. It's not your job to force the next burst of inspiration. It's your job to notice what you miss, what you reach for, what you long for, without grabbing it. Because in that restraint, in that pause, the real voice underneath your cravings will finally speak. And when it does, it won't be loud. It will feel like a pull. And you'll know it's real because you didn't chase it. This moon reveals where your energy leaks and who's feeding off your spirit. Not everything that drains you is obvious. Sometimes, the biggest energy thieves are the ones you've already normalized. And under this moon's shadow, those leaks finally show themselves. Tonight, you might feel exhausted for no reason. You might suddenly think about someone you haven't spoken to in weeks, and just remembering them pulls your energy. You might be doing nothing, no phone, no people, just sitting, and still feel like something's being siphoned from you. That's not your imagination. That's your field catching up to the reality your mind's been ignoring. Energy doesn't lie, but it can be stolen quietly. This isn't about spooky entities or haunted whispers. This is about the very real, very human, very overlooked exchange that happens between your spirit and the systems you stay plugged into. A friendship that always leaves you feeling heavy. A habit that seems harmless, but leaves your mind cluttered for hours. A belief about who you're supposed to be that pulls at you every time you try to rest. These aren't neutral. They're taking from you, constantly. And this moon, in its darkness, doesn't just make space. It highlights shadows. Meaning, it finally makes you feel what you've been tolerating. You might feel that gut drop when someone texts you. You might feel resentful after watching something, not because of the content, but because of how you gave your attention to it when your spirit wanted silence. You might feel tight in your chest when you think about a promise you made that no longer fits. That's not coincidence. That's the moment your system recognizes an energy imbalance. Not everyone who feeds off you looks like a villain. Some of them just stayed too long. You don't need to react tonight. You don't need to cut cords, burn bridges, or purge everything. But you do need to witness it, to track the drain. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. This moon isn't here to punish you, it's here to return your energy to its rightful owner, you. But it won't be handed back. You'll have to reclaim it, not all at once, but piece by piece, by saying no, by staying out of old loops, by sitting with the discomfort of withdrawal. And eventually, as the moon begins to build again, so will you. Your real self doesn't perform. It emerges in the dark. The most dangerous illusion we carry is the one we wear so well, we forget it's not us. Every day, without realizing it, you put on a version of yourself, the one that smiles when it's tired, nods when it disagrees, says, "I'm fine," when the soul inside is unraveling quietly. And the world rewards this version, the filtered, efficient, digestible version of you that fits in, that explains itself, that makes sense. But this moon isn't asking for that version, it's stripping it away. Because the real you, the version that doesn't perform, doesn't adjust, doesn't shrink to keep the peace, can't show up with an audience. The real you needs solitude. Not silence, not comfort, solitude, the raw kind. The kind where there's no feedback, no mirror, no script to follow. The you that belongs to the world will always be louder, but the you that belongs to yourself will always be more honest. And that's what's trying to walk in tonight. But it can't enter a room that's already filled with noise, opinions, expectations, or performance. That's why everything's falling away. That's why certain people feel distant right now, why conversations feel hollow, why even your own reflection might feel unfamiliar. You're not being punished. You're being peeled back, layer by layer, thought by thought, identity by identity, until what's left isn't what you think you are, but what you really are. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.